people were going in there and they were getting, like I said, 300 pills. 300 pills is about a 6-month supply. You know, if you're not going to see your doctor within 6 months, something's wrong. So we put a restriction on 3-day supply. So number one, you got to be a doctor. Number two, the doctors can't write it and fill it, and you can only give a 3-day supply. And that all passed the last legislative session. And I give primary credit to Pam Bondi on that. So that got through. Now, we went from 130 to right about 57. On Commercial Boulevard, from I-95 to Dixie Highway, there were 26 pill mills in a 1 mile length of Commercial Boulevard. Today, there's 1. And that's because of the effort that we've made on those two. Let me talk about what you can do. When you have an unused prescription or expired prescription, what do you do with it to get rid of it? Yeah, what do you do with it? Come on, tell me, what do you really do with it? Throw it down the toilet. Isn't that what most people do? They flush it down the toilet. Well, EPA has done some studies on our drinking water, and they found trace amounts of prescription drugs in our drinking water. So if you take a drink of water at home and you start to feel sleepy, you know why. You got somebody sleeping pills in your water. So we started a program we call Operation Medicine Cabinet. We've done gun buybacks in the past. We do prescription drug buybacks because we'll get rid of it safely. Do not throw it in the toilet. Do not throw it in the trash. Because if somebody sees it, you know, who knows who'll take it, kids will get into it. You gotta get it out of your medicine cabinet for sure. So once a month you go to our website, sheriff.org, we have a whole list of where we do these drug buybacks. Just like we bought back guns in the past, we now buy you back your prescription drugs. You come, we take it back, no questions asked. We give you a gift card, a $5 gift card for CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, or Publix. You can use it for another prescription, you can use it for shampoo or shaving cream, whatever you like. So we do that. You can go to our website, it's there. And we do them one Saturday a month. People ask me, if I could bring 10 prescriptions, do I get 10 gift cards? No, 1 per customer. 1 per customer. Unless you bring some, your wife brings some, then we never know. So, anybody have a question on prescription drug stuff? Yes, sir.
The doctor, you gave the story about this doctor. In the legal system now, how long will it take to get this guy put away? Or will he have some great lawyer to get him off? The guy with the $250,000.
Well, the first time we took it, the question was the doctor on Commercial Boulevard with the $275,000. The first time we did him administratively through the Department of Health. We took his license. That's the quickest way to do it. You don't have to go to court. They can administratively take his license to write prescriptions. The second time now we have charged him federally. He was one of those ones arrested in that big Operation Pill Nation that we did with DEA. So now he's facing federal charges. So, you know, he's probably facing maybe 5 to 10 years in the federal system.
Is he in jail now?
Is he in jail? No, unfortunately, you get in and they bond out. One guy who was part of that thing, he owned 10 pill mills, 6 in Broward, 4 in Palm Beach. He's still in jail. Okay, he didn't. The federal magistrate did not give him bond. But some of these other players, you know, they're on a bond because we're running out of space to keep them. Okay, anything else on prescription drugs? Yes, ma'am.
I heard that you could take your pills and put it in coffee grounds and throw it in the trash. Is that another way, or is that?
You know, I've heard that. You know, that would be, you know.
That's not recommended.
I'm sure that would be all right, but the easiest way is to give it to us because we incinerate it and it's vaporized. But yeah, if you have to do something like that, something creative like that, that would be fine. We just don't want you to put it in the water, and we don't want you to put it where kids could get access to it.
Is there also pain medication or with other?
All prescription drugs. Yeah, all prescription drugs you should do. Yes, ma'am.
How does the database work?
Good question. She asked, how does the database work? And I get this a lot because I'll give you both sides of the story. One, the people that were opposed to the database was right to privacy. I don't want, I don't want people to know what prescriptions I'm taking. The other side of it is, again, 42 states have it. We're one of the ones that don't. So I can see both sides of it. But how it works is, when a doctor writes a prescription, he goes to the computer, to the database, and he enters the prescription in the database. When you take it and you go to Walgreens and you fill the prescription, the pharmacist takes that prescription and he goes into the database and he enters it. So you have a record, it was written and it was filled. And also, we're looking to see if they prescribe more than 3 days. We're not just out there surfing the database. If you went to 10 different doctors in 3 days, and then you went to 10 different pharmacies in a week, the system would spit that out. That's not normal activity, okay? That's not normal activity. So it would tell us that hey, Jay went to 10 doctors in 2 days, okay? And then he went to 10 different pharmacies and he got 600 oxycodone. That's not normal. So only his name will get spit out. But here's the issue. People told me, well, privacy, I don't want people to know what I'm taking. I don't care whether or not Jay is taking Viagra or not, okay? But I do care if he's getting 600 oxycodone. So that's what the database is designed to do. Look for that abnormal thing and tell us that, hey, you may want to go look at this person. This is not normal. Yes, sir.
Are all prescriptions or just...
All prescriptions.
No matter what it is?
No matter what.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Does that also have a flag, for instance, if something is contraindicated and one doctor gives it to you and
That's a good question she asked. Does the database tell you if it's contraindicated? Yes. As an example, if you go to a dermatologist and they write you a prescription for oxycodone, those two don't fit. Dermatologists do not prescribe oxycodone normally. I don't know if they do anyway. So yes, it would tell you, because there's now what's called standards of care that are involved. Because these pain clinics, pill mills, you're going to pay $300. They would write you without even giving you an x-ray, an MRI, nothing. Because we did all this undercover work. I have a pain in my neck. Okay, here's 300 oxycodone. That's what it was. Okay. Yes, sir.
So if you find sometimes that some of these prescriptions are stolen in the bulk quantity somewhere and then you lose a big track of it?
Okay, that is our next good questions. Bulk thefts. That is the next step. In New York, since they can't get them in pill mills anymore, what they're doing, they're going to armed robberies in pharmacies. They can't buy it, they're stealing it. 2 pharmacy people in New York got shot and killed. It was a robbery where they were going after the painkillers. Okay. All right, I want to go into identity theft. Yes, sir.
If somebody fills a prescription
Yep.
and it was a stolen pad, prescription pad, can that be picked up because there was no doctor?
Question was, if it was you steal a prescription pad and it gets and they use it to fill it, probably not. Probably not. Identity theft is the #1 crime in Broward County, without a doubt. You have a greater probability of becoming a victim of identity theft than anything else. Anybody is a victim of identity theft here? Had their identity stolen? A few people. It's a huge, huge problem. It's like $30 billion a year with a B nationally. But it's so easy to protect yourself. You can protect yourself so easily. This is what I wanted to do tonight, is give you some ideas on how you can protect yourself. First of all, anybody here have a shredder? Does everybody here have a shredder? Okay. If you don't have a shredder, you should get one, or again, we do what we call shred-a-thons. In fact, we're going to be here in Pembroke Pines this Saturday at Pembroke Lakes Mall, was it 400 North Hiatus at the Professional Center from 9 to 12. You bring everything you want, we'll shred it for you. We have one of those big commercial shredders on the back of a truck. It's like a wood chipper. Right into the truck, shreds everything. Because I know if you have one of those Office Depot shredders, 1 page at a time, you burn them out. My mom's 82 years old. I bought her a shredder for her birthday in March. She was like totally upset. Al, you bought me a shredder for my birthday? I thought I was getting a DVD player. I said, Ma, you get more use out of the shredder than you will the DVD player. Next year I'll buy you the DVD player. And you gotta shred everything. If it's got a name and a number, you gotta shred it. You need to shred it. Catalogs, everybody get catalogs in the mail? Okay, my mom's very good. She tears off the back page. She shreds it before she throws it in the trash. But what's in the middle of the catalog? Order form, usually pre-printed, right? Okay. You got to take that out and shred it too. The other thing is freezing your credit. This card here about identity theft. On the back, there are 3 phone numbers for Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. If you have not put a freeze on your credit, after you sign up for Cybervisor, you call one of these 3 numbers and you put a freeze on your credit. That means nobody can do anything. They can't get a credit card, buy a car, get a mortgage, do anything in your name. What it does is you call that number, and they have to do it by federal law. They have to put a freeze on it. It's only good for 1 year, but you put a freeze on your credit. People ask me, does that mean I can't use my credit cards? No. Your current credit cards you can use. It's just if you're going to apply for new credit, you're going to refinance your house, you're going to go buy a car. Okay, Al, what do I do then? Well, you call them up and you say, I want to unfreeze it, I'm going to buy a car. You go buy your car. You go refinance your house. Do whatever you're going to do. When you're done, you call them back up and you refreeze your credit. You have to do it once a year. I suggest you do it on your birthday, but like when we change the clocks, something like that, that you'll remember to do it, because it's only good for 1 year. Everybody have heard of, what is the company out there?
LifeLock.
LifeLock?
That's all they do.
That's what they're doing. Banks will do it for you. Your bank charges you $10 a month. That's what LifeLock charges. I'm not promoting or not unpromoting anything, but one of the things LifeLock is doing is freezing your credit. You can do that yourself. Kids, one of the biggest problems we have now is kids. Their credit is getting, their ID is getting stolen. Because Florida is an open record state. Does anybody know when you turn 50, what do you usually get in the mail? AARP. AARP card. Did anybody wonder, like 3 weeks before you turn 50, you get that? How does that happen? Does anybody know?
They buy your records.
They buy driver's license records. Driver's license records are public record. Your picture, your address, how tall you are, your date of birth. And that's how they know. They buy them from all the states every month. It's updated, they buy them. Okay, Florida makes like $14 million a year selling your driver's license information. So what they do, yes sir?
Exactly that. I thought I read that the driver's license bureau made $50 to $60 million. That's what you're selling.
Yes, I heard it was like 14 million, but it could have been more. Yep. Because Florida is an open records, everything is sunshine law and everything's public record. And AARP buys it, and they know your birthday, and they put it in the computer, and when Jay turns 50, 3 weeks before, they know when he's going to turn 50, you get it in the mail. Okay, so that's how they know. You're not 50 yet, are you?
No, Sheriff.
Okay.
Long face for Viagra and 50.
Very good. At least I know he was listening. He's not falling asleep. So that's how it's done. But what they're doing now, they are stealing kids' identities. They look in the newspaper, you know, we put our birth announcements in there. They look for an obituary for somebody dying very young. Then they go down to the health department, they get a copy of the birth certificate. When a child is born, when we were born, when did you get a social security number? When you went to work. Now, what is it for kids?
Now you get it almost at birth.
At birth, you cannot leave the hospital with a child now, an infant, unless you have a social security number. So that child has a social security number. When is the first time that child is probably going to use their social security number? When they go to work, when they go to Publix. And they're going to find out that their identity has been compromised. when they get their first paycheck. Because what's happening now, these guys have 16 years to mess with a kid's credit. So if you've got kids or grandkids, tonight you're going to go home, sign up for Cybervisor. You're going to do this, freeze your credit. And then tomorrow, don't wake up your kids tonight. Tomorrow morning, call them up and tell them, my grandkid, my son, you've got to do your kids. My son is 17 years old. I did it for him 2 years ago. You have to freeze their credit to protect them. So, isn't this good? All the stuff I'm giving you tonight, it's free. Man. It's like free. Don't charge it up. All right, Jay, audience participation now. This is one of the best things you're going to get tonight. About freezing your credit, Cybervisor, it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, Jay, I need you to help me here. Look at this and tell me what this is.
Clock tower, regiments, key card.
From a hotel.
Hilton's,
Yeah,
room key.
It's a room key.
yeah.
It's a room key for a hotel. Okay, when you go to a hotel, they don't give you a key anymore. They give you these key cards. Okay? And this one is for Hilton, and it says, please return this key card to the front desk when you check out for Hilton. What's on the back of these things? It's a magnetic stripe. Do you know what's on this magnetic stripe?
Yes, your credit card that you use to log into the hotel.
It might be. I don't know. I don't know what's on here. That's the point. I don't know. Most probably it could have your credit card information on here. And most people, what they do is they go to the front desk and they turn it in. Here's another tip. Do not turn these in. Because I can't swear to what's on this magnetic stripe. So if you go to the front desk and they say, hey, where's your key card? Oh, I left it up in the room. It's in my room. Okay. Do not, they don't care. These are 20 cents. They don't care. They'd like to have it back. But until I can't tell you what's on here. This is, we just had the Florida Sheriff's Association conference in Daytona, at the Hilton in Daytona. That's where this card is from, last week. I don't leave it. You get home, if your shredder has one of those credit card shredders, slots, shred it, or cut it up into little tiny pieces.
It's hard to believe that that's not regulated, it's on there.
I wouldn't take the chance. I don't know.
Don't think we should be.
Take it to your forensic lab.
Yeah, they'll put it magnetized, like run through a magnetizer, demagnetizer, and they'll do it. But the point is, there are so many ways. My identity has been stolen myself. I got a phone bill, $686. It was a 786 area code. Where's 786? Dade County. I called Bell South, they said, look, I just got this phone bill, $686, 786 area code. I said, I'm the sheriff of Broward County, I can't live in Dade County. I live in Broward, 954. Okay, Mr. Lamberti, excuse me, they went to the computer. They read off to me my social security number, my date of birth, my phone number, everything, my work phone, they knew everything about me. And I was trying to think, where had the last time I used my social security number been? Another 50s thing. When I turned 50, I did what everybody told you you're supposed to do when you turn 50. Besides ARP. That's no fun. But see, she had it right here. She had it. What was it? You said it. Somebody over here said it. Colonoscopy. I got a colonoscopy.
It's not fraud.
You guys are sleeping. And that's the only place I use my social security number, because when you go into the doctor, what do they constantly ask you to write down? Your social security number. I write it down once. If I go back to the doctor, I don't write it down again. And they say, well, you need it. You already got it. It's in the back room. If you can avoid writing it, I tell people just write the last 4 digits. Don't write anything else. Well, what if they won't treat me? What's the answer?
Leave.
Find another doctor. Okay. It's so easy, and the more times you write it down, the greater the probability that it's going to get stolen. And I pretty much traced it back to the doctor's office. But how do you prove it? You know, how do you prove it? You don't. You have to protect yourself. Freezing your credit, cutting up these kind of cards, shredding. Also on our website, sheriff.org. In fact, we're going to be this same Saturday, we're going to be doing shredding as well at the professional center here at the Pembroke Lakes Mall from 9 to noon. We're doing the drug buyback and shredding. You can bring boxes, bags, clean out your house, whatever you have, bring it to us on Saturday. We'll shred it for you. It's also free. So you get free shredding, you get free information, plus we give you a $5 gift card. What a deal. 9 to noon. 400 North Hiatus. Pembroke Lakes Mall Professional Center. No, actually they donate it. Actually, our partners, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Publix, they donate those cards to us because they're a great partner and they know you're going to come in. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned the freezing your credit.
Yes.
Is that a free thing? They do it for you? And who do we call? We call the 3 numbers here?
You can pick one of the 3. You don't have to do all 3. If you do one, it goes for the others. By federal law, they have to do it for you once a year. But that's why I tell you, do it on a date that you remember so you can call. They only have to do it up for 1 year. It's only good for 1 year. You have to call every single year to do it. You, your kids, your grandkids, all that. Yes, sir.
What happens if, let's say you want to freeze your American Express card, and then you want to go out the next day?
No, you're not freezing your current credit cards. You're freezing your name and your social security number so that nobody can apply for new credit in your name. Buy a car, get another credit card, refinance your house, all that stuff. Your current credit cards are fine, you just keep using them. Yes, ma'am.
What is the procedure for freezing? I mean, how do you identify yourself that you are who you're saying you are to freeze it, and also to unfreeze it if you decide you want to buy a new car?
They're going to ask for some kind of identifier, and they're going to run through their database when you call. Your address, maiden name, something like what other codes you had on some of your credit cards.
Somebody wants to steal my identity.
Well, they're not going to give out, they're not going to give out information to the person calling. They're not giving you out information. They're going to verify who you are, and they're going to put a freeze on that credit. Right. They're not giving out information. All right, real quick, any questions and answers in general? We'll open it up now. Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, I applied for a job and they lost my application.
Yes.
And I got hired. That was a couple of years ago. So I had to fill everything out again. So I did a fraud alert, and they do that for 90 days. Is that similar to the freezing where they have to call me if someone's trying to open up a credit card?
Yeah. Here's another thing. If your identity gets stolen, one of the first things they do is they give you a year of that credit monitoring. I don't know if you've heard about that or not. They give you 1 year of free credit monitoring. Well, the bad guys have caught on to that. So if they steal your identity, what do you think they do? They wait a year, and then they start using it. So what I would tell you to do, if your identity gets stolen, you tell them, no, I want 3 years. They can do it. You just have to insist on it. If you don't ask, they won't give it to you. But you tell them, no, I want 3 years, and the sheriff said, I can get 3 years. And that's what you do. Because if you do 1 year, these bad guys are smart. They've caught on to the game. They'll wait a year. A year is nothing to them. They'll do it. Yes?
Yeah, I read somewhere that also what they're doing is when you go into a hotel, you go upstairs and you start unpacking everything, all of a sudden you get a phone call, supposedly from the lobby saying that your credit card didn't go through. And they want you to verify again all your information so that they can run it through. And it's not the lobby.
Nope.
Somebody else is writing down your information.
Exactly. What he said, when you go to a hotel, they'll call your room and they'll ask you to read your information back over the phone. You never do that. Never give anything over, any identifying information over the phone. If you get these solicitation things by email, looks like a real bank. A bank will never send you an email asking you to put in your account number, your date of birth, your social security number. They will never do that. They don't do it. Hit the delete button. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I still got it here on my cell phone. I want to go to the bank. I got an email, a text message
It's,
Give
you
him
know,
his, give him his.
they're randomly, these guys out there, they're creative. They're very, very creative.
And they do it from jail too, right?
Right? Yeah. Jay?
Okay, Sheriff, you talk about the pill mills and all kinds of fraud. How about Medicaid fraud? Is that something that is on your radar? Are you involved in it?
Medicaid fraud is obviously big in Florida because of our population. That's mainly the state that does Medicaid fraud because those funds come from the state. We're not involved so much with that, but we are involved with mortgage fraud. Mortgage fraud is huge in Florida, and that's a big, big problem that we work on where, again, people will apply for mortgages, they'll get the money and then they disappear and the whole thing is fraudulent. They steal your ID or they have somebody in the mortgage company that's involved. But that's huge in Florida.
Two more questions.
Is there?
One is that I believe 17 out of 19 people that flew those planes into World Trade Center buildings or towers had passed through Broward County.
Yes.
What are we doing to prevent that kind of radical Islam and their teachings here in Broward?
The question was that 17 out of the 19 hijackers had passed through Broward County at one particular time or another. That is absolutely true. Mohammed Atta stayed in Deerfield Beach at a mom-pop hotel for about a month with one of his partners right there on the beach in Deerfield Beach, just south of the pier. One of the things that we're part of is what's called the JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force, with the FBI. Obviously, it's a bigger problem than Broward County. So what we do is we participate in every task force we can. The FBI here has an outstanding working relationship with us, and that's what we're doing. One of the things we try to promote is the newest thing we have is see something, say something. Most people, and that's what happened with the flying lessons and these flight schools, you know, after it was all over, well, I should have said something. You know, too many times that happens, and it doesn't have to be terrorism. It could be robbery, street crime. I wish I would have said something. But that's the thing we're trying to promote now. See something, say something. If it looks suspicious, it probably is. And that's what we need to get a phone call on. We do get some assistance on buying equipment, things like that. So as far as the terrorism problem, I think we're pretty much on top of it. I can tell you right now in Broward County, the FBI, we used to get a lot of help from them in auto thefts, bank robberies. They're pretty much 90% of their job right now in business is terrorism. We don't get the assistance that we used to. Bank robberies were always all FBI response. And now they very rarely, if you have somebody in custody, they will come out. If you don't, then it's a county responsibility, and we just handle it ourselves.
But you don't want to call 911. Is there a number that you call if you see something?
The non-emergency number, it's very easy to remember, and it was designed that way. It's 7 backwards. 765-4321. And it was designed that way so that you would never forget it. 765-4321, 954 obviously. And that gets you to our communication center. So if it's not an emergency and you just want to call and tell somebody that you think somebody should know, 7 backwards. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we just had that incident out in Texas
Yep.
where there's guns galore. The guy became suspicious and he saved a very, very serious thing from happening.
Yeah. It's something as simple as what I said on Cybervisor, that person in Deerfield who got this alert and called up, and we solved a major, major countywide case just because somebody saw it and they said something. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me just roughly what percentage of your budget you get from the feds, and if there's any flaming hoops they make you jump through for it?
Well, obviously, you know, with budget cutting up there, we're getting less and less and less. Out of our budget, I mean, it's maybe 2%, very, very small, and that's grants, things like that.
And that's to offset things like participation in the JTTF?
Yeah, they do reimburse us for expenses like that, for, you know, overtime, staff people, equipment, you know, so if we're doing something, they're very good at that. But it's those grant programs that we used to get a lot of funding from that pretty much have all dried up. You know, school resource officers, was one of the programs that was, a lot of it was funded federally. That's why we have the problem. We cut 21 school resource officers 2 years ago. I mean, to me, we actually cut 42. 21 of them, some of the cities picked up. But, you know, to cut 42 school resource officers, you know, when we grew up, we didn't have police officers in the schools. You know, we really didn't need it. But now, today, it's almost a necessity, not a luxury. And when you're looking at cutting law enforcement budgets, people look at that as a luxury. Everybody thinks it's a vital program and they want it, but nobody can agree on how to pay for it. And that's a tough thing. Right now, the argument, should it be the school board? Should it be the county? Should it be the municipality? I personally can tell you, my opinion is it should not be the municipality. It's a county school system. Broward County Schools, county. Nowhere is the word Miramar in there. So, but that's a whole nother, we could talk another hour about that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, in 1993 or so, this is in California, working for a city, for a municipality there.
Yeah.
Our ratio was about 1,000 people for every sworn officer. Right now, I think, I'm seeing like Coral Springs, I Googled a little bit, it was about 600 to 1. And Hollywood, in the last deal that they are facing there, they're asking 300 to 1, the unions. In your opinion, to have a balanced safety in our municipalities, in our cities, what should be the proper ratio or a range of ratio that we should be looking at as we prepare our budgets, as we look at our law enforcement and all that?
I can tell you, the national average is 2.2 per 1,000 population. So for every 1,000, you should have 2 officers. That's a nationwide average. But I can tell you, in Broward County, you go from, you know, probably 0.9, you know, to over 2. It depends on what the city wants, what kind of issues they have there. You know, crime rates, calls for service, how many times do people call the police? That's what we look at. And that's what we're looking at in this thing with Hollywood. They've asked us for a proposal for police and fire. That's the kind of analysis that we do. What's your crime rate? How many times do people call the police? And that's different in a bedroom community than in the city of Hollywood. But the average is 2.2 per 1,000. That's the national average. Yes, sir.
Do you see the, I noticed it's been in the paper of late, the question of regionalization, and I'm hearing from some of the local politicians the commentary with regard, it seems like someone like the Broward Workshop has decided they're going to push that concept, and I was wondering if you would just briefly, I know you haven't got time to go into it in depth, but would you just comment to it? And 2, as part of that, do you see that as a political issue coming up in the election?
Okay, I'm going to give you the 2-minute thing because that's a passionate thing for me. I have never arrested a criminal carrying a map. Okay? They don't know where they are, and they just go wherever the opportunity is. But we operate by boundaries. Oh no, that's Pembroke Pines. They have to handle it. Oh, that's Miramar, that's Davie, that's Cooper City. And that's how we operate. We are focused by geographical boundaries. But crime doesn't operate that way. So why should we operate that way? Here's my answer. Consolidation and regionalization, not duplication. That's what saves money. It's crazy to have, on the fire side, because we have fire, every city to have a ladder truck, every city to have a hazmat. There's so much duplication in this county that it's the taxpayers that suffer. And there's not enough dollars out there, I don't think, for everybody to do everything. We got a call this week from the city of Wilton Manors if we would come in and do their homicide investigations for them, because they have to cut back so far, they can't afford to do it anymore. So those kind of things should be done on a county-wide basis, because they happen so far and few in between that everybody doesn't have to have everything. Consolidation and regionalization is the only way we're going to get through this, even with the counties. I mean, you can't tell where Dade County starts and Broward County ends. And we chase bad guys into Dade County, and Dade County chases bad guys into Broward, and in Fort Lauderdale, they chase them into Pompano, which is us. When I started here 33 years ago, you couldn't even talk on the radio to the city next to you. But thanks to a lot of changes, now we can do it. And the only efficient way is some kind of consolidation and regionalization, both for your pocketbook and to efficiently fight crime. If people are going to say, I'm only going to worry about what's in my city, we're going in the wrong direction. Because if they're in your city tomorrow, they're in the next city the next day. And that was the case with these air conditioner thefts. These air conditioner thefts were in every city, and there wasn't enough consolidation of working together. Yes, sir.
Sheriff, talk to us about robberies, homicides, and sex bats, your big increased UCRs, and also on the fire side, I'd like to know about the your helicopters. Do they service our areas over here, like Terminal Pines Wested, like if I'm in a bad car wreck or something? Does your fire rescue copters come out here, and how many do you have?
Okay, I'll answer that one first. Yes, aviation, air rescue, all aviation is a county-wide service. That is a regional service that everybody in the county pays for. Every one of our helicopters, when they take off, they have 2 paramedics on board so that they can respond to any kind of medical emergency. Right now we have 3 helicopters. We had 4. We cut back to 3 because of budget. We really need to try to go back to 4. But that is a county-wide service. Just like the crime lab, there's only 1 crime lab, there's only 1 jail, there's only 1 aviation unit, and that's the sheriff's office. The first part of the question, what was the first part?
The three CRs, your homicide, sex bats, and your robberies.
The good thing, those are considered on the violent crime side. Here's what's happening in Broward County right now. Violent crime is down, property crimes are up. Crime overall is down about 4%, but violent crimes are down significantly and property crimes are up. People say it's the economy, you know, that property crimes tend to, in a bad economy, more property crimes occur. I tend to agree with that somewhat. But the good thing is violent crimes are down, although gun crimes are up. Crimes in which a gun is used, those have increased. Even though all violent crimes are down, gun crimes are up and property crimes are up. Yes, sir.
What's your take on the new legislation regarding carry in public places?
You know, again, it depends on what side they're showing. I know the sheriffs as a whole, we're against it on the open carry. You know, the question is, how are you going to be able to tell who's the bad guy and who's the good guy? So,
well, they just passed, well, they're getting ready to, I guess, in fact, it's on our agenda for having to repeal our ordinances regarding guns in City Hall and in city parks, things of that nature.
well, you know, and again, that's why I don't look at my position as a legislative position. That's for the people in Tallahassee to figure out. I have to deal with what they pass.
Sheriff, one last question.
Yes, sir.
That is, what is this we hear about you changing parties?
Changing parties. Okay, here's my thought on that. First of all, I am running for re-election next year. And so I'm going to need your help. To me, okay, I'm a Republican. I ran as a Republican. I won as a Republican. So I wouldn't think there's any reason why I would not win again as a Republican. I have said from the very beginning that this is not a political position. So for me to switch parties at this point, I would say, people would say, well, you're just playing politics. Like I said at the beginning, I've served under 7 sheriffs, some Republican, some Democrat. Bob Butterworth was at my swearing-in ceremony. He promoted me to sergeant. That was the very first promotion I ever had, was by Bob Butterworth promoted me to sergeant. And he was a Democrat. But I probably wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for Bob Butterworth, because that first step is the toughest one. But he said it best at my swearing-in ceremony. You know, you run as a Republican, you run as a Democrat. But after you're elected, you are not the Republican sheriff or the Democrat sheriff. You're just the sheriff of Broward County. And what I say is, you know, victims are not Republicans or Democrats. They're people. And that's what we have to be concerned about. We don't arrest only Democrats or only Republicans.
Oh, gee, now
If you're a bad guy, if you commit a crime, you're going to jail. You know, we don't look at your voter's card before we take you to jail. And so to me, I've said all along, it's about the person, not the party. I'm comfortable staying right where I am. But you know, it's you helping me get the message out that, you know, we have a person that came up through the ranks. I already have 2 opponents already, so we have to start early. But neither one of them came up through the ranks in the Broward Sheriff's Office. And you know what, if it works in the military, coming up through the ranks, you don't start as a general. You know, even in education, you don't start as a principal. You know, you got to start as a teacher. So I think that's what it should come down to, is that, and I try to say, I think I've done a good job the past 4 years. I don't think there's any reason to change at this point. I think the agency is going forward. We weathered the storm. Like I said, we've cut $139 million. So we've been frugal with your tax money. And we've eliminated 587 positions that, you know, we still have public safety. And again, it's the #1 priority. So I'm here to stay with your help.
Thank you.
And do me a favor, next time I'm going to take attendance. Who signed up for cybervisor? Who froze their credit? Cut up your cards, all that free. And hopefully this weekend, if you're around, I will be there for the event there from 9 to 12. Please come by, say hello. 400 North Hiatus, shredding, and prescription drugs. But I will be there the whole 3 hours. If you'd like to come by, say hello.
Can you send an email to the Falcon Club? And,
Email? Sure.
yeah, to her about the event, so maybe she can send.
Let me just mention too, my assistant from my governmental affairs person, Danielle DiNicola, is in the back. So if you see help, if you need anything from Danielle, she'll help you. But we will send Jay the email on those 2 events as a reminder, and then Jay.
So we can send to the HOAs in the
Thank you, sir.
Once again, Sheriff, thank you for making the time to come by and speak to us, and we love your common sense approach. Mrs. Klein, door prizes?
Yes, we're going to have 3 drawings, and please select which one you want at the front desk over there. And
Yeah, have a sheriff. While we're doing this, Representative Jeanette Nunez, she wanted us all to have our Twitter handle. It's Rep J Nunez, REPJNUNEZ. Go ahead.
ready to
Yeah, go ahead. Raffle.
Okay, ticket 362910.
Oh, that's me?
All right.
All right. You go over to the back and pick what you like. You got 2 more?
Okay, 362920. Okay?
All right. And the last one.
We have one more, Sharon. Okay, and the last ticket is 362917.
17.
17. Going once.
Thank you.
Going twice.
Vince?
Thank you.
All right, there's Vince Solana. All right. Okay, next meeting is September 12th. We have a national figure, Dale Peterson from Alabama, as our guest speaker. Thank you all for coming. We are adjourned. See you then.
Yeah. So.
I guess I'll have to circulate around.
Pictures are up in the back left with Alex Casas.
Oh. Where's Charlie?
Where'd Charlie just left?
He just left, yeah.
You will.
Collecting them and putting them over there.
Underground guy. Yeah. Make that stuff. I've said it. Got it.
So I know if she goes. And that's who I was